Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Great Voyage. The strongest emperor of the four emperors, Blackbeard. Chapter 31. Just after Carlo announced the real rules of this recruitment conference, all the pirates present were stunned in place, each with a big snot, and their eyes almost popped out. No one spoke, and everyone fell into a state of ignorance. Not only those little pirates who haven't seen much of the world, but even the powerhouses such as Lafitte and Poison Q who are present are not much better than those people. This is really not because of the rules announced by Carlo, and even before he finished speaking, a group of pirates had already become this virtue. The real reason is the devil fruit that just appeared in front of him. No one expected that with a wave of Carlo's hand, 3 more, appeared, which shocked everyone present. Such a strong visual impact directly caused most of the people present to fail to hear the real point of the selection rules set by Carlo. Just like someone put 2 small days in their minds, the impact is strong. You can see a Madara. FK, you're awesome, man, it's you. Beside Carlo, Blackbeard at this time also suddenly burst out with such a sentence. And his expression was not much better than the pirates in front of him. His excitement was beyond words. What the hell, Teach, do you want to eat one too? Blackbeard's reaction made Carlo a little speechless. Did this buddy lose his memory, or did he suddenly pass through like him? Isn't it the fruits that the two of them robbed together? What a surprise. Why do you cooperate so much? There are so many dramas. No, thief, haha, brother, you continue. Blackbeard coughed twice, smiled awkwardly, and seemed to realize that he had just overreacted. However, God is pitiful, Carlo has really wronged him. Unlike many pirates, Blackbeard's reaction was so big, not because of devil fruit, but because he was once again convinced by Carlo's operation. Although Carlo had told him about this plan a long time ago, he would recruit the crew with devil fruit as the lucky draw. But what is the specific recruitment method, Blackbeard has not asked in detail. Because in his opinion, it is nothing more than competitive selection. Whoever is stronger is the most intuitive and effective. Besides that, what other methods can be used? But just after Carlo took the initiative to tell them about the kidnapping of celestial dragons, Blackbeard realized that his plan as the co-captain was not that simple. I didn't even plan to leave the pirates present, and I was going to take them all in one pot after the selection was over. Although he didn't ask, Blackbeard instantly understood Carlo's plan, and at the same time, he had already set the scene for everyone present in his mind, ready to start a real massacre. It is for this reason that this guy was careless and did not manage his expressions well. That weird look was actually caught by a little pirate, and there was something that killed people in the back and used it as a shock. Whatever he does, he will have a clear and complete plan, leaving no loopholes. Even when Carlo proposed to him a plan to capture Ace before, he could find a loophole that wasn't a loophole, forcibly fill it, or leave a way out for himself in advance. I don't know if it's because I've done too many things or what's going on. I'm afraid that no one can compare with him. I believe that the celestial dragon's home has been stolen, and I can't believe that Blackbeard has been calculated. No exaggeration at all. It is precisely because he is such a person, and he has been with Carlo for so long, that Blackbeard obviously does not think that the mate who belongs to the same group as himself will leave such a big loophole for them. The best explanation is that Carlo didn't plan to stay alive. After the selection, he would come to a large group annihilation. What Blackbeard thought was pretty much the same, basically in line with Carlo's plan. After all, no matter what, the situation at sea is too sensitive now. Even if they don't expose themselves to be the culprit in the kidnapping of celestial dragons, but throwing 4 devil fruits at once, coupled with their own unknown powerful ability, Conqueror's Haki, will inevitably lead to suspicion. Once it spreads, the nervous world government and marine will definitely not ignore it. Now these people are the masters who would rather kill them by mistake than let them go. Plus here, it's still the first half of the Grand Line. So, it's better to just expose yourself and silence it, save time and effort, and don't cause trouble for the other party. Let's all give up and restart the thing, just bear it and endure it. A gentleman does not stand under a dangerous wall, which has always been the motto of Carlo and Blackbeard. Although it's somewhat cruel. But, who cares? Everyone, who is not the ruthless old sixth? After thinking of Carlo's plan, Blackbeard not only has no objection, but is also quite satisfied, so that they will save a lot of invisible trouble. But even Blackbeard brainstormed to the point where he thought he had completely guessed Carlo's plans. But he still didn't expect that this wave, he just rose to the 5th floor, and people are still in the atmosphere. Although Blackbeard's plan was roughly the same as Carlo's plan, Carlo didn't plan to deal with the pirates personally or let him do it. Instead, let this group of people kill each other. Let these pirates become the real murderers, who kill each other. This is where Blackbeard calls Neo X. Indeed, this is the truly perfect solution. The powerhouses selected from ordinary competitions may not be the strongest, but from the real battle of life and death, select the few who survived. Then they, even if they may not be the strongest people, must be the most ruthless existence of everyone's centrality and means. This is what the Blackbeard pirates really need, someone who has been slain from life and death and from the group of enemies. Such a person, even if his current strength is average, but his growth potential is definitely not weak. With such a personality and means, it is more suitable for their Blackbeard pirates. The proper good boy has a bright future. In addition, this method can also eliminate all hidden dangers 100% at the same time, leaving no problems. Just like what Blackbeard thought before, in order not to reveal the slightest information and kill the entire island, this one-size-fits-all approach can indeed cover most of the current problems. But what about later? There will always be many pirates coming to this island, and the news here will be exposed sooner or later. 10,000 people on the whole island were killed. This kind of news cannot be concealed, and once it spreads, it will definitely cause a lot of trouble. It's impossible for the two of them to stay here all the time, to kill one and not let people land on the island, right? That would be so nonsense. And once the news gets out, people will investigate, and the problem will be found to some extent. After all, such a large-scale shot will definitely leave some aura that belongs to oneself or ability. This kind of thing cannot be avoided. If the world finds out that all the pirates on the island have the same hands, it will be a pain in the ass, and it is a perfect plan. That's a cocoon, it's exposed faster, and it's just looking for trouble for yourself. Unless they can guarantee that no one will shoot in front of them in the future, they will be noticed sooner or later. Therefore, what Carlo finally proposed at the moment is the most perfect method. To let many pirates kill each other and become the direct murderers of each other, is there a more reasonable and flawless plan than this? Apparently not. And, most importantly, let these pirates, voluntarily, become what Carlo planned. Chapter 32. Seeking revenge and pirates fighting each other are common occurrences in the sea in this era, but in normal circumstances, no one will be surprised. Even if all the pirates on an entire island were killed, that would not be surprising at all. Thousands of pirates sounds like a lot, but in New World, there are quite a few large pirate groups, all of this size. So, as long as Carlo and Blackbeard didn't do it themselves, no one would notice the abnormality at all. At that time, the pirates on this whole island will belong to the normal fighting in the pirate world, which will lead to the destruction of the group. What's more, since there is no abnormality, who will bother or care about their life and death? The plan has been perfected to this point, who could possibly doubt getting them both? When the immortals come, they will be in trouble. This is exactly what Carlo wants to see. In this way, Blackbeard and Carlo can not only get the followers they really want through this method. It can also erase all traces related to them, without revealing a little bit, and it may even turn the sensitive eyes of the world and the government to other places in this tense situation. One arrow kills one arrow. It is because of thinking about these things clearly that Blackbeard stunned, causing him to accidentally lose his temper and being scolded by Carlo. Blackbeard said it could be his fault. It's not that your boy's operation is too showy, it is too suitable for Lousy's appetite. As for how to make the pirates in front of them voluntarily follow Carlo's script, this is no longer a problem. After all, being voluntary is also a kind of voluntary. It's just a pity that the short-sighted pirates in front of them don't seem to realize so many problems. At this time, they were able to recover from the shock of the few devil fruits that Carlo took out again. God, devil fruit, it's all devil fruit, that's so much. Lousy has never seen a devil fruit in his life, but now there are 4. I'm not dreaming. Really, it's all devil fruit. Looking at the 3 new devil fruits that appeared in front of Carlo, all the pirates were not calm. Their eyes were like light bulbs, their eyes were shining brightly, and the halal seeds were about to flow into a river. If this is at night, there is no need for any lighting equipment here. The eyes of these pirates are enough to illuminate the entire Soraka Island. Don't tell me about you. Even I, the ability person, have never seen so many devil fruits. On the other hand, the few capable people were also stunned. The scene where the 4 devil fruits appeared together was really shocking. Who will see it last time in his life? And these devil fruits, like the quick fruits that have been taken out, are naturally the proceeds of Carlo and Blackbeard's robbery of Les Chawls. Zone Eudemon's Beeman fruit. Paramecia fruit of the 5 senses. Paramecia virus fruit. It can be said that Carlo and Blackbeard have a bad heart, but these 2 products are absolutely generous, and they are all really top-notch fruits, without any water. Even if some of them are not top-notch, they are still the best among devil fruit. Of course, as for the eliminated ones, besides being sorry, you can only let them go all the way. Looking at the many pirates in a frenzy, Carlo smiled, then turned around, and returned to the high platform with Blackbeard and devil fruit. As for the home court, it has to be handed over to the next protagonists. It seems that you are all ready. Then, Lousy announced that the selection will begin. On the high platform, Carlo's voice was not loud, but it was enough to spread throughout the square and to the ears of every pirate present. Then, he sat down with his knees crossed, as if waiting to see a good show. And Blackbeard on the other side is the same, even this guy's expression is more excited than Carlo. Boom. Single quote. Just as Carlo's voice fell, suddenly, from outside the square, out of nowhere, a gunshot suddenly appeared, as if announcing that the selection was just beginning. But obviously, most of the people present didn't realize what happened. It's too sudden, so it started like this. Also, where did the gunshots come from? It's too slow to respond. Seeing this, Carlo, who was sitting on the high platform, couldn't help shaking his head, but in his heart, he was also surprised. He really didn't realize that among the trees near the square, there were still strong men hiding. It wasn't until this gunshot appeared just now that Carlo was able to realize the approximate location of the other party. Thief, haha. Lousy thought this product wouldn't come out, really can bear his temper. After hiding for so long, did you still choose to shoot? Ha ha ha. Brother Carlo, those devil fruits you took out are really tempting to them. Beside Carlo, Blackbeard stared at the direction Carlo was looking at, and smiled quite penetratingly. Obviously, he had already discovered that someone was hiding there, but the other party had no plans to take action against the 2 of them, so he never pointed it out. The sniper, if I guess right, should be the last one, Van Oka. Sure enough, it is there, and it has been hidden for so long. It is worthy of being a sniper. It is really bearable. Hearing this, Carlo immediately thought of Van Oka, one of the 4 earliest partners in Blackbeard's original trajectory, and the last one who hasn't appeared yet. However, at the same time, Carlo also discovered his own shortcomings. Although he has Conqueror's Haki, Armament Haki has reached the advanced level, emission level. But so far, he has not awakened Observation Haki. This seems to be the weakest point in Conqueror's Haki, but it is the point that snipers and gunners are best at and need the most. It is also the ability to guard against their gang of old sixths. In addition, Armament Haki can only be possessed for defense at all times, otherwise there is no so-called security in front of these guys. But who can afford this kind of consumption? It's still a little more practical from awakening Observation Haki. Just like Blackbeard, who already found out where Van Oka is, thanks to Observation Haki. It seems that when the system releases the task later, it will have to receive a reward related to seeing and hearing. Well, this is the only way to be comprehensive. Chapter 33. Yeah, I also thought that he didn't plan to come out. If so, he would have to be dealt with afterwards. Leave with our secrets. Hey, how is that possible? However, it seems that he intends to join the selection. This shot should be his ticket. Responding to Blackbeard's words, Carlo's face was flushed, and he didn't feel the slightest bit of embarrassment for bragging about himself. Anyway, there will be something like seeing, hearing and coloring in the future, that means that it also exists now. There must be none. Thief, ha ha ha. Who's to say no? But bro, Lousy likes his marksmanship. It would be great if he could pass the test. Our team still lacks long-range strike power. This person is a good choice, and his marksmanship is quite good. Looking at the situation on the field, Blackbeard patted Carlo's shoulder with some excitement and said, "Yeah, this marksmanship is really scary." Hearing this, Carlo also nodded, his expression a little dignified. In the original pirate world, there were not many pictures of Van Oka, so even Carlo, the transmigrator, did not know how powerful his marksmanship was. But being seen by Blackbeard, as their team's ace sniper, and possessing a reflex that is not inferior to that of Red Hair Pirate's Usopp, it is impossible to be bad. But no matter whether he understands it or not, at least in front of him, this little test of his knife, the first shot, brought quite a big surprise to Carlo and Blackbeard. At this moment in the field, just when the pirates were confused by Carlo's sudden announcement and the sudden gunshots, no one noticed that on the far right of the square, there were already at least a dozen pirates. Their eyes widened, their bodies stiffened, and they could not make any sound. There was a tiny bullet hole between their eyebrows. It's neat and tidy, and the position is not bad, all at the center of the eyebrows. The most important thing is that the position where these pirates are standing is not a straight line. He was in an arc-shaped position, but was shot in the same position. One shot, just one shot. Just think about how terrifying the shooter is. Dang, dang, stare. At this moment, a slight sound of footsteps came, which attracted the eyes of all the people who were confused. I saw a thin and tall man in a cloak, with a scope in one eye, carrying a sniper rifle in one hand, and he had already appeared in the crowd, staring at them indifferently. Although the footsteps were slight, in fact, others were already in front of everyone. At this point, Carlo and Blackbeard on the high platform kept nodding their heads in approval. Obviously, this person is an extremely well-rounded sniper, and he has trained all his habits and characteristics into the necessary qualities required by a sniper. Moreover, this quality is definitely the top group among the peers. A sniper has always been a figure hidden in the dark. Of course, movements should be kept to a minimum, especially the sound of footsteps. Whether it's to hide yourself or not to startle the snake, it's very important. Only by practicing yourself to the limit can you better assist others in the team. It's really him. Yin Yu, Van Oka. Carlo's muttering and the shouts of some pirates in the square sounded at the same time. At the same time, the dozen or so pirates who were shot and killed by Van Oka before fell down at this time. At this time, people discovered that casualties had already begun in the field. Even those pirates who were killed, the people beside them, and their partners, had not discovered it before. Did you do something good? You bastard, uncle, I have to kill you. On the right side of the square, a blue-haired young man with a face full of anger, blue veins bursting all over his body, he almost exploded his lungs with anger. After releasing these ruthless words, he quickly flew in the direction of Van Oka. It looks like he is going to start a teacher and ask for guilt. He is clearly going to go up and eat the other party alive. Upon seeing this, Van Oka said nothing, just raised the sniper spear with one hand and aimed it at the blue-haired pirate. It's just a small sniper, a waste that can only hide in the dark. It's all out, and you still want to use your broken gun. Lousy wants to abolish you, and give my brother his life. The blue-haired young man was furious, and he was constantly changing his position while running over at a very fast speed. At such a close distance, the speed of walking is still so fast, not to mention a sniper, even a person with an ordinary gun, it is difficult to hit the opponent. It turned out that one of the dozen or so pirates killed by Van Oka just now was his brother. Moreover, obviously this pair of brothers is not the same as those pirate soldiers. Although he is not a capable person, he has strong muscles and extremely fast speed. With such physical fitness, he is also a quite good gymnast in the first half of the Grand Line. It's no wonder that wanting to win Devil Fruit in Carlo's hands is indeed a powerful force for the two brothers, and it may really make them famous in the sea. Boom. Single quote. Van Oka's face was cold, and he didn't say a word. Just when the blue-haired young man was less than 30 meters away from him, he pulled the trigger. In the eyes of outsiders, there was almost no aiming, and the barrel of the gun did not move with the constantly changing position of the opponent, so it shot straight out. No one would think that this shot would hit. After all, it's too biased. Even the blue-haired pirate had a cruel smile on his face. Such a close distance, at his speed, so close at hand. It seems that in the next second, he will be able to kill this brother-killing enemy. It's just that the smile on his face just appeared, and then it instantly solidified. At the same time, a cold voice appeared in his ears. Who are you? Uncle. Chapter 34. Weird and outrageous question. As soon as these words came out, not to mention the many pirates present, even the blue-haired youth who was the party concerned expressed their desire to laugh. Is this the focus of your special code? It's just a pity that he wanted to laugh, but he couldn't laugh anymore. Van Oka's question just now has become the last word he heard in this world. Because of his body, he was unable to continue to charge forward, so he just fell to the spot. At this time, people saw that there was a grape-sized gun hole in the heart of the blue-haired youth, which was much bigger than the gun eyes of the dozen or so pirates before. This shot directly exploded his heart, and blood spurted out instantly. That's right, it's not a stream, just like a fountain, it just sprays out. It can be seen how powerful this gun is. Perhaps, this blue-haired pirate ascended to heaven without even feeling the pain. This scene, everyone present couldn't help but shivered with goosebumps and chilled all over. No one would have thought that the advantage is in the dark, and the sniper who should have been in the dark actually has such a terrifying fighting ability. It was obviously impossible to hit a shot, but he was hit, so easy, it felt effortless at all. On the contrary, it was the blue-haired pirate, who took care of himself for a long time and walked around, but in the end he was easily killed like a clown. This strong sense of contrast made everyone dare not underestimate this sniper. At such a close distance, there is no strong incorporeal body technique at all, it is simply too special and terrifying. Warrior, dare to take such a shot at Van Oka, face it and rush up. Yeah, the old birthday star has a long life. You must know that this Shinso from East Blue had a bounty of 30 million Bailey when he was first offered a bounty a year ago. This is usually the treatment for captains of pirates. In East Blue, it is a very high bounty. It's very scary to put it here. You must know that he is just a sniper, and now he has been rewarded with 64 million. In the crowd, some people who were familiar with Van Oka saw this scene and started talking. Generally speaking, as a spectator, it is inevitable to exaggerate what you say, but at this time, the discussions of the people are real. 100% pure, not fake at all. Snipers, an unpopular profession, are even rarer than physique powerhouses and swordsmen. Moreover, except for the team of the Emperors of the Sea, most pirates do not pay much attention to snipers. Even the Marines don't put them on the same level as the combatants. Therefore, if a sniper on a general ship can have a bounty like a fighter, it is quite high. Of course, except Usopp. After all, this is the man who was given the title of God. And Van Oka, as a team without a team, only relying on his sniper ability to fight alone, let Marine issue a bounty. In 1 year, a total of 2 bounties were offered. The first was 30 million, and the second was directly 64 million Bailey. What is this concept? I am afraid it is difficult to find out. There is a reward with a higher gold content than him. If you really have to think about it, individual combat, snipers, and a bounty of 64 million are definitely on the same level as pirate captains or combatants with a bounty of more than 100 million. Even, just because he dared to shoot against Ace without any scruples in the original trajectory, and compared with Usopp without pressure, the gold content may be even higher. You must know that at that time, Blackbeard had not formed a partner with him for a long time. How could he have the time to strengthen his strength? It was all based on his own ability. No. Anyway, he fouled. Yes. He fouled. He hasn't appeared in the square for a long time. He is not qualified to participate in the assessment. I'll ask the 2 captains to take action and execute this foul bastard. At this moment, the clamor of several pirates rang out. Obviously, it is not much different from the blue-haired young man just now, and it has something to do with the pirates who were killed by Van Oka. Unwilling, but unable to beat him, now he is focusing on Carlo and Blackbeard, hoping that the two most powerful beings present will help them take revenge. Oh, do you set the rules, or do I set them? Before Van Oka could explain his position, Carlo spoke first. It's just that the people he questioned were not Van Oka, but the pirates who let him shoot. Could it be that you are teaching Lousy to do things? Hearing this icy voice and Carlo's cold face, the pirates burst out with cold sweat on their faces, trembling all over, not daring to say another word. As I said just now, the selection has already begun. He did it after I announced it, and it completely complies with the rules. Carlo didn't bother to explain to them, but just dropped these two sentences hastily, proving that Van Oka, the regularity of the card time entry, no longer ignored the people below. Thief, ha ha ha, well done, man. Seeing this, Blackbeard couldn't help giving Carlo a thumbs up. That's right, this guy is self-indulgent again, thinking that Carlo knows that he has a crush on this person, deliberately not embarrassing, is giving him a chance. This means that Carlo does not know the true thoughts of this guy, otherwise, he will inevitably be ridiculed. Why is your face so big? What's so special about giving people such a forcible impression? Did you hear that? The Lord said that my shot is legal. At this moment, Van Oka's indifferent voice sounded again, and at the same time, he also aimed the sniper barrel at the pirate who took the lead in attacking him. No, do not want. Boom. Single quote. Before he could beg for mercy, another shot was fired. The bullets of each shot are obviously different, this time the power is the greatest. In the horrified eyes of everyone, the pirate who took the lead exploded and died in an instant. With such a simple shot, a living, rugged pirate was directly beaten into scattered pieces of meat. The visual effects are quite explosive. Ha ha ha, yes, isn't it all started? Why are you being so polite? Lousy doesn't like to be pretentious. Since everyone is so calm, I'll do it first. Just as Van Oka landed another shot, Burgess laughed and moved his hand. The pirates closest to him suffered instantly, and were directly hammered into meat patties by those two huge fists. Chapter 35. Burgess waved the huge jet device on his right arm, and his fist strength increased exponentially. Under the constant bombardment, within 10 seconds, the surrounding area was directly emptied. 20 or 30 pirates were all killed, and before they could react, the people disappeared. On the other side, Poison Q, who was riding on a sick horse, seemed to return to the light. He changed his previous state of dying. He pulled out a huge sickle from nowhere, and swung it to his heart's content. True to his title, Shinigami. Waving the scythe of Shinigami, constantly harvesting life, the scene was quite tragic, and for a while, screams continued to resound in the field. And Lafitte, who was closest to the high platform, gave a symbolic smirk, holding a pistol in one hand and a cane in the other, using these two things as weapons, and began to act. Compared with other people, Lafitte is quite normal, and there is nothing surprising about the means of attack. But just when a bunch of people around him were about to besiege him, two white wings appeared directly on the back of this guy, and with his body, under the dazed eyes of the pirates, he went to the sky. Flying high in the sky, no one can do anything to him, but Lafitte can do his best, laughing wildly, while harvesting his life with a pistol. Devil fruit power. Another demon fruit power. Lousy is really convinced. What kind of fun is this gang of fruitful people? My brothers are almost killed by them. Many pirates, under the attack of a few rare demon fruit power, want to cry without tears, but the battle has begun, no one can quit, no one can stop. No, isn't it the selection of winners? How did we get to this point? We don't want to die. Yeah, two adults, what's going on? Isn't it just the winner of the competition? Why is there such a massacre? Help me, I don't want to die yet. Stop, I admit defeat, let me go. Sure enough, there was still such a voice. Silly. Hearing this kind of remarks, Carlo cursed directly, ignored it, and turned to look at other battlefields. No way, there are quite a few second-hand goods. When he just announced the rules, they didn't hear the point he said at all. All attention was drawn to devil fruit, so no one else was to blame. You deserve to be killed, anyway, even if you don't participate, you will die, and the outcome cannot be changed. Ha ha ha, are you the only ones worthy of going out to sea? The Lord said that only those who survive today are worthy of those abilities and become people on this ship. What are you thinking? A big man with a long brown beard laughed a few times, and while responding to the remarks of these idiots, he slashed and slashed the people around him frantically. Yeah, I'm still begging for mercy. Don't be ashamed. Like you, in the next life, you should stay at home and eat your old man. Why go out to sea? Well, my good son, ha ha ha. On the other side, a lean man with a pair of knives sneered and chopped the pirate frantically begging for mercy under his feet in half. Scenes like this are endless. Obviously, although most of the pirates present are unbearable and weak, there are also quite a few fanatical and brutal. Their level of perversion and the amount of bounty are no less than those of Lafitte. For example, the slender black-clothed pirate who used 2 knives just now has a bounty of more than 50 million yuan, which is definitely not a small pirate. Some of them even looked mad, and in order to get the devil fruit ability in Carlo's hands, they directly attacked their former friends. There's no way. Carlo's rules are like this: the 4 who survived in the end can share those devil fruits. The number is limited. At this time, who can care about those? There are hundreds of people present, and if one dies with one less opponent, then the possibility of successfully surviving to the end will be one more point. The word is undoubtedly the biggest. Gradually, those pirates who were still in a daze and had the illusion of surviving, slowly accepted the reality in the face of such a scene. Bloody massacres and battles were everywhere, rivers of blood flowed on the ground, and the air was filled with the smell of blood. Even the pirates who were only fainted by Carlo Conqueror's haki suffered great casualties. After all, in such a chaotic scene, who can take care of them? They are all killing their enemies to save their lives. Especially for the pirates in battle, many of them have a wide range of attack moves. Once they are smashed down, the lying corpses on the ground are hanging in pieces. There is no possibility of resisting and surviving. Moreover, this kind of being killed by moves and accidental injuries is not bad. The comatose pirates, and even those who were trampled to death, died in a stampede accident in the world of pirates, which would be quite embarrassing and embarrassing. A traveler like Carlo said that he couldn't keep his eyes on it. In this kind of hell like an Asura field, those pirates who had fantasies in their hearts were finally stimulated by reality and bloody blood. Until now, they finally understood a truth. If they want to survive, they can only shoot and kill as many enemies as possible. This is what they should do now. It's not too late. After all, those who are really late are already lying at the feet of people. In this way, the battlefield became more chaotic. All of them, whether they were active or forced, all went into battle. In this kind of scene, there are no friends, no partners, and everywhere you look, there are enemies, and the pirates are like crazy, trying their best to attack. The sound of swords, various firearms, weapons, and countless moves, mixed with screams, resounded throughout the island. No one would know that in such a remote place, on a small island that the pirates used to regard as a paradise, such a tragic battle is happening today. Thousands of people's lives, in this war, were all turned into fly ash and died tragically here. This battle didn't last long. Although there are many people, all of them are fighting, and people fall down and die every minute and every second. In less than 40 minutes, the city of Soraka was full of corpses. The scope of this battle is so large that it is not only limited to the square, but even the town and the jungle are full of blood and corpses. Of course, with Blackbeard's observation haki sensor, they weren't worried about someone slipping away. At this time, in the square, there were only 5 figures left, still standing there. And these 5 people are also the last 5 seated players left in the bloody melee that lasted for 40 minutes. Chapter 36. Until now, hundreds of thousands of pirates have participated in the selection, and only the last 5 are left. It can be said that it is almost over. Van Oka. Poison Q. Gizes Burgess. Lafitte. That's right. The first 4 partners in Blackbeard's original trajectory have all persisted until now, and no one has been defeated and left behind. And the 5th person, named Osuzui, was the slender black-clothed man with 2 knives who offered a reward of 53 million pirates shortly after the selection started. The last 5 remaining people are now all concentrated in the square. Van Oka, Poison Q, and Burgess had already sat under the high platform, turned on the Sage mode, and watched the battle on the field while healing. Rao is stronger than them, and in this high-intensity melee, he was also injured. After all, among those pirates, they are not all trash and cowards, and there are not a few powerful ones. There are quite a lot of people who have been rewarded, and some of them have even reached more than 90 million, or nearly 100 million, and they are chasing the super newcomers of this generation. However, the result was not very good. They also died here tragically. It was still these people who had the last laugh. No, it's not the end yet. The three of them who locked the victory were Van Oka, while Lafitte and Ashai were still in the middle of the battle. The last place, obviously, will definitely be decided between the two of them. As for the three of them, Poison Q, although they can voluntarily choose who to help eradicate the other, this Carlo does not stipulate that they cannot interfere. But in the same way, no one will go back and get involved in the idle pain. They are not the kind of people who are willing to help others. How can a fight be fun to watch a play? Don't you see Blackbeard on the high platform? His smile is like a high tide. And if you mix up one hand and trap yourself who have locked the victory in advance, the fun will be great. For those who are mercenary and egoistic, naturally no one would do such a stupid thing. Whoosh, whoosh. Lafitte, you bastard, you obviously have devil fruit ability, why are you arguing with Lousy? In the final battle, Asha was sweating profusely, panting heavily, staring gloomily at Lafitte flying in midair. Others are afraid of Lafitte's name, but he is not afraid of chasing him. Because his reputation in North Blue is no less than Lafitte's so-called devil sheriff in West Blue. Even in comparison, he is a bit more brutal and perverted than Lafitte. Under normal circumstances, Aussie wouldn't say such nonsense. But now he is really tortured and can't help it. Facing a flying demon fruit power, no matter how well he plays with both swords, it's so useless. Can't hit at all. Although he also has the kind of move that strikes the sword, but compared with Lafitte's speed, it is too far behind, and can be accurately avoided every time. And that kind of move needs to be charged. Every time like this, Lafitte will always shoot a few shots, and he can't even avoid it. I don't know how many bullet holes there are already in the body. Under the change, Lafitte was only slightly injured, and he was not only shot into a sieve, but his physical strength was almost exhausted. However, the opponent still refused to come down. This battle was quite annoyed and unhappy for Oswi. Madeline, someone has been kited. Hee, who said my target is devil fruit? Aussie, your thinking is too superficial. Being able to follow two captains like this is what I value most. Devil fruit. Does that matter? Lafayette's mouth was like wiping honey. While mocking Aush, he also patted Blackbeard and Carlo's ass. Whether it's true or not, who doesn't like flattery? That is quite useful. Well, Carlo and Blackbeard expressed their satisfaction. Then you have something to give Lousy down. Don't use guns, face to face. I want to see if you, the devil sheriff of West Blue, match the rumored name. Oshway was obviously so angry that he didn't eat oil or salt. If this went on, he would have to be killed by a kite. The most important thing is that he can only dare to do something to Lafitte now. The methods of Van Oka and Poison Q are too strange, and with his current serious injury, he is not sure at all. As for Burgess, if he was in his prime, he might not be afraid, but now with such serious injuries and bullet holes, he may not be able to resist a jet elbow from that beast. After all, even if this guy is crazy and perverted, he is not a fool after all, and he still knows how to pick soft persimmons. Without a gun, face to face. Hearing this, Lafitte, who was flying high in the sky, sneered and said, Hee, Ashai, I didn't expect you to be so naive. It makes me wonder, your reputation at North Blue. However, since you think so, then I will do as you wish. As soon as the voice fell, Lafitte raised his pistol and shot two, bang bang, shots, directly hitting the double knives held by Ashai. The huge impact force made Asha, who was already exhausted, unable to hold the two knives at all, and the two knives were directly knocked out. Ashai was about to speak, but the next moment, he saw Lafitte jumping down from the sky, retracting his wings, throwing away his pistol, and looking at him mockingly. The meaning is obvious, I don't use guns and don't fly, and you don't use knives. Ha ha ha, even if you don't have a knife, but you Birdman, do you really think you can beat me with your bare hands? Lafitte, go to hell. I'll end you, the most brutal piece of trash in West Blue. Lafitte's actions made Ashai laugh in anger. I saw him raise his fists. The muscles on his arms were like horned dragons, and they collapsed one after another, with great strength, towards Lafitte's direction, slammed quickly. He wants to use his own fists to smash this birdman who can only fly and use a gun into pieces. Looking at this scene, Lafitte had no other expression on his face, still wearing that professional smirk. The next moment, I saw that he raised the crutches in his hand. Crutches. With this crap, I want to fight lousy too. Boom. Single quote. Before Ashai had finished speaking, he saw that the pointed end of the cane at the bottom opened automatically, revealing the dazzling barrel. Immediately afterwards, a deafening gunshot resounded through the silent square filled with corpses. Chapter 37. You. Looking at the dark muzzle at the bottom of the crutch, still braving a few wisps of gun smoke, Ashai's face was full of anger and unwillingness. It's just that he no longer has a chance to compete for devil fruit and compete for this last spot. Lafitte's sudden black hand, even a few spectators sitting on the sidelines did not respond, and the bullet passed through Ashai's chest. Thump. Single quote. The next moment, the madman pirate from North Blue fell to the ground so aggrieved and died completely. Oh, it's too childish. Stupid enough to be pitiful, even dare to believe the enemy's words, tisk. Glancing at the corpse lying on the ground, Lafitte bent over to pick up the pistol and inserted it back into his waist. Then he took off his top hat, bent down extremely, gentlemen, and saluted Blackbeard and Carlo on the high platform. Two captains, am I passing? Certainly. On the high platform, Carlo nodded and recognized the other party. This selection is now completely over, and the final winners, and Blackbeard's original trajectory, are not a dime difference, still these four people. It seems that I guessed right. In the original pirate world, Blackbeard really captured these four people here. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible to be so coincidental. As he jumped off the high platform, Carlo muttered to himself. As he anticipated at first, stalking, Blackbeard will inevitably participate in his previously unknown growth trajectories. This Soraka Island is one of them. Carlo's guess was not wrong, but this time they conquered these four people. Obviously it was much easier than Blackbeard's original trajectory. You must know that although these four people are not very strong, they all have very eccentric personalities. It can be seen that they are all rebellious and ruthless masters. Thinking that in order to subdue them, Blackbeard had a lot of talk in this place, and almost made the four of them lame before convincing them to join his team. However, the subduing process this time can only be described as simple and rude. It was easy and stress-free. Thief ha ha ha, welcome everyone, join Lousy's team. After getting off the high platform, Blackbeard and Carlo walked up to the four of them. They didn't even write any ink. They took out 4 devil fruits for them to choose from. Take it, all 4 fruits are here, choose the ability you like, and then eat him. With a flick of his hand, Carlo threw all 4 devil fruits in front of several people. At this scene, the 4 of them were stunned for a moment. They never thought that these 2 captains would be so straightforward. If you say rewards, you will be rewarded, and you won't even bother at all. It's too reliable. Immediately, the images of Blackbeard and Carlo skyrocketed in the hearts of the 4. Who wouldn't like to work with someone like that? Especially people like them. Ha ha ha, since that's the case, then I'm welcome. Burgess was the first to be unable to hold back, so he rushed up, picked up 4 devil fruits, looked left and right, and was extremely excited. Seeing this, Poison Q and Van Oka also hurried up. This is the link they are most looking forward to. Even Lafitte, who already had devil fruit ability, couldn't help but follow him and join in the fun. Below each of the 4 devil fruits is a note, which is the introduction of these devil fruits, which Carlo and Blackbeard brought out from the Celestial Dragon's underground palace together. No, it will come in handy to save them from fussing. Hey, this Lousy is not dreaming. Is it a zone? It's still the top beam-in fruit. Isn't this a legendary ability? It actually exists. After a long while, the sound of air conditioning sounded, Burgess's eyes almost popped out, and when he saw the introduction of beam-in fruit, his chin fell directly on the ground, unable to extricate himself for a long time. Quote. The fastest speed in the world, this is the ability in my dreams. With it, with the cooperation of Chinlu and I can exert the greatest power. Van Oka suppressed the shock in his heart, and unconsciously rubbed his hands against his love gun, Chinlu, trying to make his tone normal, but as everyone knows, listening to other people's ears has already changed the taste. Carlo was very happy watching this scene, but now he knows that this guy is not a paralyzed face, he can still make expressions. Sure enough, coldness or something, it's all pretentious. Cough, 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 cough. Just when a few people were immersed in their own world, a sudden violent cough suddenly woke them up. I saw Poison Q, who was about to die, constantly pointing at another devil fruit with his hands. He couldn't say anything in shock, and the extremely withered, face was shaking violently. I don't know, I thought this big brother was about to pass. Hey, sick seedling, don't get excited, you finally passed the selection, if one accidentally hangs up, then you won't lose your life. Seeing this, Carlo jokingly said. Thief, ha ha ha, yes, don't go over suddenly, or else this devil fruit, lousy, will be given to others. On the other hand, Blackbeard also echoed his words, and the two of them sang together, and they were invincible. What this guy saw, they both knew clearly. Paramecia virus fruit. Although he didn't know that Poison Q Weimao would be so excited, his temperament, no matter how he looked at it, matched this special ability quite well. Cough, cough, you don't understand. After a long while, Poison Q gradually calmed down. This violent cough almost didn't come out of his lungs. It seems that he can see that his physical condition is a little worse. I am a doctor. Over the years, I have been researching more toxic drugs. I have been with these things all the year round. My body has long been eaten away. What a doctor. Hearing Poison Q's explanation, whether it was Blackbeard or Burgess and others, their expressions were rather speechless. You study poison every day, and you tell us that you are a doctor. Who dares to use this doctor? Rao is Carlo, a transmigrator, and he has the urge to spray rice. He did know that this guy was the ship doctor of the Blackbeard pirates, but he never thought it would be such a ship doctor. A negative teaching material in the medical field. It seems that everyone's reaction has been expected, and Poison Q doesn't care. Then he continued to explain himself. In addition to accompanying these poisonous plant medicines every day, in order to create the most poisonous poison, or virus, I will personally test the poison. That's why you will see me now, what I look like. This year, Lousy is only 27 years old, mad. It's very rare. Poison Q actually exploded. Obviously, although he voluntarily tried the poison, it also made this guy extremely unwilling. Also, at the age of 20 years old, being ridiculed by people outside every day, it is exciting to think about it. It's no wonder that this guy's character is so distorted, that explosions and murders are all at your fingertips. If it weren't for my medical skills, I would have been poisoned to death long ago. But now, everything is fine. I really want to thank the two captains for letting me see this fruit. The fruit of the virus, as long as I have it, ha 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 ha, and then I study poisons and viruses, I'm not afraid of anything. Chapter 38. Good guy. Shenong tastes all kinds of herbs. Looking at the poisonous Q in madness, Carlo suddenly said this. Needless to say, this guy's research on poisons and viruses has reached a frenzy, and he has ruined himself to such a degree that he still refuses to stop. In a sense, it is indeed a match for Shenong. Zhuangzhuang, my chance is here. As long as this fruit exists, I can definitely create a virus that scares the whole sea. Poison Q gently stroked the tall horse beside him. His eyes were eager, and his excitement could not calm down at all. Zhuangzhuang is the name of his sick horse. Obviously, staying with Poison Q every day will inevitably be eroded by poison. However, it can be clearly seen that Poison Q's medical skills are indeed heaven-defying. It's all like this, and he can still hang his and his mounts lives on his own. If there is a king of hell in this world, it is estimated that they will be yelled at. Why is this not a bug? Looking at the state of this man, Carlo shook his head speechlessly. However, for the arrogance of Poison Q, whether it is Carlo or Blackbeard, it is still quite recognized. Although the things he studies are terrifying, they are also for others. Now that Poison Q has already boarded their ship, after that, isn't this a good tool to strengthen their Blackbeard pirates? When the time comes, let alone marine and world government, the whole world will be plunged into great fear. Of course, the premise is that he can really study it. Ha ha ha, this beeman fruit, lousy is going to order, don't grab any of you with me. Whoever robs me, lousy is in a hurry. Just then, Burgess' exaggerated and rough voice came. I saw this product, and I have eagerly received the beeman fruit directly in my hands, with a look that is unwilling to let go. Obviously, the temptation of this fruit for him is too great, it is tailor-made for him. I just like this kind of power-type top ability, or the ability of the Phantom Beast and the legendary Giant Beast. However, the other people present didn't pay any attention to this stupid guy at all, and didn't even turn their heads back, making it clear that they wanted to embarrass him. Nonsense. Who will rob him? Can't you see how obsessed Vanoka and Poison Q are with Quick Fruit and Virus Fruit? Not worse than him. Even if he took the initiative to change it, no one would take care of him, maybe he would be anxious. Thief, ha ha ha, it seems that you have all chosen. In that case, eat them, and then, it's time to set off with Lousy. Seeing that his team's strength was about to usher in a wave of enhancements, Blackbeard was quite happy, and immediately urged a few people to eat devil fruit. Hearing this, several people were not hypocritical, and immediately devoured it. Looking at this scene, Carlo was a little restless. Devil fruit, isn't it so hard to eat? Others are eager to spit it out after taking a bite. What's going on with these big brothers? There is such a way to eat. But think about it and know that this is the ability they dreamed of. I didn't expect that this trip to Soraka would actually be able to obtain such a superb fruit ability. Who cares about taste? Even if it is unpalatable, it has to be said to be delicious. It is so extraordinarily profitable. Oh, it's a pity, I missed this opportunity. I didn't expect to have such a top-notch ability. The two captains, you really made a lot of money. My little white pigeon's ability, how can I mess around on the ship in the future? On the other side, Lafitte was leaning on crutches, with a face of resentment. He immediately turned into lemon essence, sour that his teeth were almost falling. The fruit ability of the three people is outrageously powerful, which makes Lafitte, who is a zone white dove fruit ability, quite jealous. But he had no choice but to blame himself for eating early. Brother Lafitte, don't be jealous, with your tricky nature, you will definitely eat on Lousy's boat. I believe you and Carlo bro, there will be quite a lot of common topics. Thief, ha 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 ha. Blackbeard had a mean look on his face, and he meant something. He kept glancing at Carlo, who was obviously referring to Sang and scolding why. Teach, when it comes to treacherousness, there is no one like you. Don't talk about Lousy, don't forget whose plan this is. Carlo glared at the ecstatic Blackbeard, who was overjoyed and came to tease him again. I owe it. Thief, haha, of course, in terms of ingenuity, it has to be our dog's head. A good military division is the first, how can it be treacherous, hee hee. Under Carlo's murderous eyes, the 4 words, dog-headed military division, were forcibly held back by Blackbeard, and almost came out bald without noticing. This kind of daily bickering was normal for both Carlo and Blackbeard. But in Lafitte's eyes, it shocked him. Crew, how dare you talk to the captain like that? Even the communication between the deputy captain and the captain should not be like this. What is the origin of their deputy captain? It seems that its importance and status in the team is no less than that of Blackbeard. It is no wonder that Lafitte is shocked and strange. After all, looking at the sea, there are countless pirate groups. I can't say all of them. In most teams, the captain is the supreme, the most respected, and the kind that the crew never dares to disobey, even the deputy captain. Casual jokes and bickering like this. Outrageous. However, Carlo and Blackbeard naturally don't know Lafitte's thoughts, and even if they do, they probably won't care. What a joke. No one knows the importance of Carlo better than Blackbeard. All of this is due to him right now, not to mention this mode of getting along, even if it is offered to Carlo, Blackbeard won't mind. After about 5 minutes, the 3 people who ate the fruit clearly felt the changes in their bodies, and began to adapt to the feeling that this power became part of their bodies. Looks like it's done. Clean up the traces here, we should go. Roar. Single quote. Seeing the three people sitting on the steps stand up, Carlo was about to open his mouth and instruct them to clean up the place, so he wanted to leave and return to the boat. But at this moment, a sudden roar interrupted Carlo's words directly. I saw that among the three, Burgess raised his throat and roared in the sky. Obviously, the huge roar that was biased towards beasts was not exactly the original Burgess voice. It's the monstrous roar that really belongs to the behemoth. Chapter 39. In the square, after seeing Burgess roar, his body began to skyrocket like crazy. The clothes were directly burst, and the skin all over the body began to brown, and the already exaggerated muscles ushered in a huge increase again. In just a moment, Burgess' body became incomparably tall, more than 10 meters tall, and it was on par with the giants. At this time, he has lost his human appearance. He has dark brown skin, long white hair, and a mouth full of fangs. He looks quite intimidating. What is even more striking is that his exaggerated forearms are actually 2 or 3 times thicker than his thighs, obviously full of explosive power. Just by looking at it, with this punch, let alone the giants, even if Oz came, he might not be able to hold it. And this is the true form of the behemoth. As soon as Burgess ate the fruit, after a short period of adaptation, he began to try to use this inexplicable extra energy in his body. But I didn't expect that under the accident, this product directly used the most bluffing beast form. Ha 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 ha. Cool, so cool. This body is so useful. Is this the legendary Beeman fruit? I didn't expect it. Ha ha ha, it will really let me get it. Lousy's punch down. How many mountains can't be collapsed? I think in the future, when going to sea, who would dare to woo Lousy with those idiots in Marine, they will knock them all down with one punch. Burgess, who changed into Beeman's form, reacted from the brief confusion, and fell into extreme excitement. After sizing up his exaggerated huge arms and fists, he began to gesture towards the mountain not far from the town. It looks like he is going to run over and use it to practice boxing. I rub it. Burgess, you idiot, can you stop making trouble and almost step on me? If you want to make trouble, I will accompany you, and I will use the fate of Chinlu to end your life. Just as Burgess transformed, the unhappy voices of Lafitte and Van Oka came from below, and it looked like they were going to FK him if they disagreed. There's no way. Who made this guy twitch over his head, change his form without saying hello, and almost stepped on these two? However, before the two could make a move, in the square, Carlo took a step and walked towards Burgess. Until then, several people in the field noticed that Carlo's face had darkened. It seems that this kid is going to be miserable, and the deputy captain is angry. Lafitte looked schadenfreude and smiled quite evilly. Ever since he had seen the relationship between Carlo and Blackbeard, he had a strong sixth sense. His own deputy captain not only had a very high status on the ship, but his strength was absolutely outrageous. Nonsense. Conqueror's hockey owner, and weaker. Wouldn't it be easy to abuse a little Burgess? In fact, it is true, Carlo is quite upset now. The special code, Burgess, you are a little trash, you dare to interrupt me, and pretend to be X in front of Lousy. Can't stand it. Still Hammer Mountain, do you think you are Marine hero Garp? When he got closer, compared to Burgess, who was more than 10 meters tall at this time, Carlo's stature was indeed too small. However, no matter how big the body is, in front of absolute strength, it is just a show. Carlo didn't say a word, his legs energized, and then he jumped into the sky in an instant. Deputy, Vice Captain, how do you? Looking at Carlo, who suddenly appeared in his line of sight, Burgess, who was still chattering, was obviously a little confused and couldn't understand the situation. However, before he could finish his words, Carlo punched directly and slammed into his big Beeman face. Ha! Ah! Even armament hockey was useless. With such a simple punch, Burgess's big face was smashed into a pit, causing him to scream in pain. Then, before he could react, Carlo turned around in midair, whipped his leg back, and threw it on the other half of his face. The few people below could only see that Burgess' huge figure suddenly flew up, lost his center of gravity by Carlo's kick, and slammed into a building not far away. Boom! In front of him, a huge thick smoke was stirred up in an instant, and Burgess' huge figure disappeared from everyone's sight. Okay, Clean up here, make sure no one is alive, we should leave. After doing all this, Carlo clapped his hands to dust off the dust, and gave an order to the other three who were still in a daze. There was no emotional fluctuation on his face, and he didn't say a word. As if the person who just beat up Burgess was not him at all. Follow your orders, Vice Captain. Hearing this, the three of Lafitte came back to their senses, responded quickly, and then went to deal with what Carlo ordered. No way, their deputy captain is too strong, and Rao is the always indifferent Van Oka, and at this time, there is a chill in his heart. Still, nobody pity Burgess, interrupting the co-captain. Still pretending to be X. So why don't you take the initiative to find a cut? Deserved. Yeah, it went so well this time. Lousy's pirate group finally opened, good thing. It's time for a banquet, thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard was obviously a little unhappy about the arrogant Burgess. After seeing Carlo take care of him, he didn't care about that guy anymore, and brought the topic to the banquet. The number of members expanded greatly, and 4 people joined at once, and the overall strength of the team ushered in a surge. Not to mention, these newcomers who boarded the ship basically had an appetite for Blackbeard. This made him quite excited, and he was about to return to the ship immediately for a grand banquet. A pirate group that doesn't hold banquets is not a good captain, Blackbeard said. How can a pirate not hold a banquet? This is the consensus of the pirate world, to be the ultimate goal of pirates. Afterwards, several people shot together, and under the influence of Blackbeard's sense of sight, they made up for the pirates who were still in the field one by one, and then left here. To avoid future troubles, of course, to be completely clean, Carlo and Blackbeard will not leave any flaws, waiting for someone to expose them. In this way, Blackbeard and Carlo led the 3 newly boarded ships towards the port. As for the Burgess thing, just let him chase after him. For this kind of person, a slap in the face is real, and sweet dates can't be given. Otherwise it's too easy to float. So far, this trip to Soraka Island has come to a successful conclusion. The goals of Blackbeard and Carlo have also been fully achieved. However, when they were about to arrive at the port, there was still a distance between them, and the 2 of them saw from a distance that another ship appeared next to the big ship. Moreover, in front of the ship, there are actually 2 giant pythons, which are terrifyingly large. Chapter 40. It looks familiar. Lousy seems to have seen it somewhere. Looking at the pirate flag above the big ship dragged by 2 green giant pythons in the distance, Blackbeard frowned, but he just couldn't remember which pirate group's logo it was. That's one of the 7 warlords of the sea, the 9 snake pirates led by the pirate queen. Before waiting for Carlo to express his position, Lafitte pointed out the name of the forces behind the pirate ship with a shocked expression. As a professional navigator, Lafitte is quite aware of the trends on the sea and the forces of all parties. Oh yes, I said, why are you so familiar, thief haha, are you going to fight Shichibukai now? Dude, what do you think? With an unnatural look on his face, Blackbeard asked Carlo beside him. In case of endless troubles, of course, ask the military advisor. Apparently, with such a serious and sensitive situation at sea recently, coupled with the other side's ship being right next to theirs, this made Blackbeard think that Shichibukai under the world government was coming for them. How do you see it? See it with your eyes, you don't have to think too much, teach, you'll know it in the past. Are you still afraid, a mere Shichibukai? Carlo's performance was beyond Blackbeard's expectations. He was not at all conscious of being the culprit who started this wave, a calm group. Quote. Shichibukai, indeed, thief ha ha ha, it's really not worth my fear. After being slapped by Carlo, Blackbeard immediately reacted. What they are going to do next is to have a big impact. How can you be frightened by a mere Shichibukai? There is no way. Blackbeard's mentality is still somewhat bad at the moment, or it may be because he has done too much, and he looks like a bird in shock. On the other hand, Carlo is much calmer. The first time he saw this pirate ship, he knew that it was the Pirate Queen, Boa Hancock's pirate ship. Come on, let's go first. Hey, 2 captains, wait for me. This time, Carlo still didn't finish his words, and was suddenly interrupted by a loud shout from behind. My special code. Carlo's forehead was full of black lines. He expressed that he was very puzzled. Are these two strokes deliberately going against him? How brave. Don't look back. Carlo and a few others have already heard it, and that's Burgess' uniquely rough voice. It seemed that it was this guy who caught up with the big army. But, unfortunately, he interrupted Carlo again. Drink. Drink. Finally caught up. You two captains are going too fast. Don't forget me, ha ha ha. Without the slightest awareness, Burgess came up laughing and got close to Blackbeard and Carlo. It wasn't until after a long while that no one responded to him that this guy realized that the atmosphere didn't seem right. What's wrong? Burgess touched the back of his head and asked a few people in a simple and honest look. Ah, you, interrupted the vice captain again. Lafayette held back his smile and did not dare to show it at all, for fear of being angered by Carlo, and even he cleaned up. What the hell? I was wrong, Deputy Captain, Deputy Master, Lord Carlo. I didn't do it on purpose, I'm convinced, and I definitely don't dare to scold. I know the vice captain is the coolest. Don't deal with me, the 2 blows you gave me are too happy. If you continue to fight, I can't stand it, little brother. Why are there so many strange names? No one would have thought that Burgess, who has always been a bully and didn't take anyone in the eye, woke up super fast this time, and his attitude turned 180 degrees. After learning that he interrupted Carlo once again, he quickly begged for mercy, stepping on himself and holding each other, almost kneeling down to Carlo. Quote. Forget it. From now on we're all in the same group. There's nothing to worry about, let's go. Seeing this guy lowered his high profile to such a level, Carlo lost his temper instantly, just glared at him and didn't care anymore. No matter what, you can't kill him, can you? This stuff wasn't intentional either. Also wasting a top fruit, almost got it. Then, Blackbeard and Carlo walked side by side with the 4 newly recruited crew members and walked towards the port. How is it possible, such a thing could happen? Just as he walked in front of the 2 large ships, Carlo was silently looking at Blackbeard, who was face to face with the tugboat giant Python, thinking that the 2 gangsters were looking at Mung Bean and met eyes. At this moment, they suddenly heard an exclamation from their own ship. Obviously, it belongs to a girl's voice, and it is quite pleasant. Even better than the voice of Carlo's previous life as a spectator. But the most important thing is that it seems that the so-called 9 snake pirates have boarded their ship without authorization. At this time, Blackbeard and Carlo and their big ship, the pirate empress, Boa Hancock, with her 2 younger sisters, and members of the 9 snake pirates, are all here. Originally, the empress led the crew, who were also citizens of their country, to go out to sea for more than 2 months, and did not return from the outside world until today. Amazon Lily, this is their country. Boa Hancock, the queen, is the king of this generation there. And this country is on the edge of the Grand Line, in the terrifying Calm Belt. Coincidentally, the Calm Belt where their country is located, and Soraka Island turned out to be in the same direction. It's just that one is inside and the other is outside. By convention, the 9 snake pirates would always come to Soraka for a walk before going back. Whether it was an exchange or a forcible exchange, they had to rob the big-ticket pirates here. Every time they take away a lot of materials that are extremely useful to their country but are quite rare in the country. It's just that on this trip to Soraka before returning to China, the 9 snake pirates discovered the grand occasion here. After a brief understanding of the pirates who rushed to the center of the island from the port, they realized that there seemed to be quite a wealthy, take advantage, who brought devil fruit here to recruit people. This aroused great interest in the 9 snake pirates, so they immediately decided to take advantage of the big vote. In layman's terms, black eats black. As for robbery, you always have to start with the easy ones first, so the 9 snake pirates set their sights on the many pirate ships docked in the port. I thought about looting the valuable things on the ship first, and then rushing to the island to continue looting. But when they searched the pirate ship of Carlo and Blackbeard, they found a terrifying thing in a cabin. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.